Hello, everybody. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes,
Okay, I'm having a little challenge here on my end with getting the video up, but I guess you guys can see my PowerPoint slides now, correct?
correct.
So I'm just going to jump right into the presentation. And again, I really appreciate you inviting me to speak, and hopefully I can share some information of value to you guys about the 10X Pure hemp oil, and also how to understand and explain the endocannabinoid system and why it is that the CBD and the other phytocannabinoids and hemp oil actually how they work and how they benefit people's health. So I always like to start with, like, how do you choose an effective hemp oil? Because a lot of what's out there on the market is not, I think there was a study done that like 84% of the hemp oil being sold online has zero CBD in it. So people are paying a lot of money for stuff that doesn't have what they're paying for, that's not good manufacturing practices certified, which means that it has to meet certain standards. Every point here that I'm going to make, 10X Pure and the other products from CTFO, are, you can check that box. So, we know our products are exceptional because of these exact things. Now, it's my belief that full spectrum hemp oil, which contains a whole lot more components than just a CBD isolate, is actually preferable. There are reasons to use a CBD isolate, of course, but people tend to think CBD is the big heavy lifter that's doing everything. And as you'll find out, it's really the combination of the whole plant that really is providing more benefits. Not that CBD alone doesn't provide benefits, but I think that that's really important. It is absolutely critical to buy an organically sourced hemp oil. Hemp is a bioconcentrator. Those plants are bioconcentrator, and they actually are being used around the Chernobyl site where the nuclear power plant melted down years ago to absorb toxins and pull toxins out of the soil. If you're getting hemp that's not organic, you don't know what's in the soil that it was grown on and what toxins are then being concentrated into the oil that are then going to end up in your body. So it's absolutely critical to be sure that you have an organic product that's certified organic. Again, it has to be good manufacturing practices certified. And in the supplement industry in general, this is something we always look for in integrative practices, functional medicine practices. We're looking for companies that are going that extra mile. Might be a little bit more expensive to do all that third-party analysis, third-party testing for purity, for potency, so that like I would say, if you're going to spend, you're going to buy vitamin C, you want to know that if it says 1,000 milligrams per capsule on it, that it's actually 1,000 milligrams per capsule, not 200. And again, there's been study after study that have shown that, if we don't have that certification, you don't even know what you're buying. It's kind of a crapshoot what you're buying off the shelf at, at the drugstore or the grocery store when you're buying supplements. So it's really important to see that GMP certified logo. Most commercially available hemp oil is in oil, and it's basically only 6% bioavailable. And what that means is that if you're taking a dose that's 100 milligrams, you're only getting 6 milligrams. And most hemp oils are not even that potent. So you really want to know that what you're taking is bioavailable. That it's getting in through the mucosa in the mouth, it's getting in sublingually, it's getting under the tongue, it's getting in through the GI tract. Otherwise, you're just not getting what you're paying for. Most of it's being wasted. Now, I kind of skipped over the cold extraction because that's really important, as you'll see. When they make 10X Pure, when they make the oil, it's really important that it's not heat treated, because that's going to alter the oil, and we're going to talk about that more in a minute. But you must have a hemp oil that is what we call hydrophilic or water loving, because that then becomes much more water soluble, it becomes much more bioavailable, and you can get the bioavailability of that up to 85, 90, 95% absorption instead of the 6%. that's absorbed with commercial hemp oil. The full spectrum hemp oil, as I mentioned before, actually provides an entourage effect. I've been using herbal medicines in my practice for over 34 years. And when you use the whole herb, you get this entourage effect. You get this synergistic effect of all of the components. Drug companies tend to take one component. So let's talk about white willow bark, for instance, where years and years and years ago, a drug company extracted aspirin out of white willow bark, but the toxicity becomes more, and the effectiveness is doesn't offset the toxicity of the drug, because you've actually concentrated out one component. All of those components are there for a reason, and they work much better together. So in hemp oil, in full spectrum hemp oil, such as 10X Pure, we get all of the multiple cannabinoids, and there's been over 100 different cannabinoids that have been identified, not just CBD. CBD is the current buzzword that people use, and I want you to understand that's only one out of 100 or more phytocannabinoids that are in there, and I'm going to explain those terms in a minute. There are dozens of terpenes, and terpenes are things that cause your body to, or cause you to have a flavor or a scent. For instance, the terpene is what makes pine smell like pine, makes lemon taste like lemon, makes orange taste like orange. Those are the terpenes, and they do have health benefits. And of course, bioflavonoids are really important. They're antioxidant. They have a number of different actions in the body. Essential fatty acids, we all need those. We have to ingest them. Our bodies can't make them, and all the vitamins and essential minerals as well. So in a full spectrum oil, you're getting the benefit of multiple things, not just the CBD. So here's our 10X Pure. I absolutely love this product. It is the next generation of hemp oil. I believe it's the most advanced product that's out there. I've been researching this area for 4 or 5 years now, the research on cannabinoids, and certainly in my practice and personally have used multiple different products, and the results that I see with 10X Pure, both personally and professionally, is way beyond even some of the other bioavailable products that I was using previously. And there's good reason for that. So 10X Pure is a patented hydrophilic technology that does not use nanotechnology or heat or any kind of chemical processing. It is CTFO has a worldwide exclusive on it, so it's not going anywhere. And it markedly increases the absorption and bioavailability, not just across the intestinal tract or across the mucous membranes in your mouth, but also across cell membranes and even into the brain. And that's really important. If you're looking at things like sleep or anxiety or depression, you're going to get a much better effect, or focus, concentration, you get a much better effect with something that's going to easily cross the blood-brain barrier. The brain wants to keep out all toxins, so it's a pretty stiff membrane to keep, to protect your brain. But the 10X Pure aids in these compounds getting across the blood-brain barrier. Also, it contains these short-chain fatty acids I'm going to talk about in a minute that have they have antibacterial, antiviral, antifungal, and prebiotic properties in and of themselves, not even combined with the hemp oil, which also has a lot of those benefits documented in the research as well. Lauric acid is something I've been using, also called monolaurin. Been using it in my practice for a long time. It was extracted from coconut oil, palm oil, and mother's milk. And it actually, in the mother's milk, transfers immunity and protection, antiviral and antibacterial protection to the infant. That's why it's in there. That's why the body makes it to transfer to the infant for its immune boosting qualities. And that's one of the 5 essential fatty acids that are in 10X Pure. So it's the lauric acid with the immune boosting, antiviral, antibacterial, capric acid, which provides prebiotic effects. And what a prebiotic is that it enhances the probiotic colonization in the intestinal tract. So when you take a probiotic, if the conditions in your intestinal tract aren't right, you're gonna, the good bacteria will just die again. You won't be able to, they won't be able to grow and enhance the gut flora, the microbiome. And so when you enhance the microbiome and you get those bacteria to colonize, then that's going to suppress what we call dysbiotic flora, which are things like yeast and parasites and, you know, pathogenic bacteria, like, you know, Clostridium difficile or C. diff you've probably heard of. Caprylic acid is I've used that for years in my practice as an antifungal nutritional supplement. Linoleic acid is an essential fatty acid. Your body can't make it. You have to ingest it. That is a precursor to the anti-inflammatory leukotrienes and cytokines in your body. And oleic acid, which is an essential omega-9 essential fatty acid from olive oil. But you can see 10x Pure isn't just hemp oil in olive oil, which is a lot of the products out there. Now, the other thing about the 10x Pure is they're oxygenated, which makes it more hydrophilic, and that has a number of health benefits in and of itself. So one of the things that was recently, the research that was recently, some of the studies that were just done by 10x Pure and CTFO revealed that the combination of 10x Pure with the hemp oil actually protects cannabidiolic acid or CBDA. And that is the raw, unprocessed cannabinoid that fights inflammation and anxiety far better than any other, than CBD or the other cannabinoids. And CBDA is the precursor to CBD or cannabidiol, but it gets degraded very easily with heat treating or just, you know, aging or any processing or damaging to the oil, to the raw oil. And there's initial research that indicates that CBDA is 100 times, I've even seen 300 times more potent than cannabidiol. So that means if you're taking 100 milligrams of cannabidiol, 1 milligram of cannabidiolic acid will do the same thing, will have the same positive effect. So the more CBDA there is in the product, obviously, the more potent the product is going to be. And the initial studies showed that the 10x Pure oxygenated patented oils protect the CBDA up to 65% from degradation. So that means we're delivering a product that's way more potent than anything else out there on the market, even the ones that are, you know, claiming to be more water soluble, bioavailable. So not only are we more bioavailable and water soluble, but we also have a better, stronger potency because of the retention and the preservation of CBDA in 10x Pure. And that makes it the non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, like, you know, aspirin is kind of the progenitor of that whole class of drugs. They're called COX-2 inhibitors, especially the more selective they are. And they're potent anti-inflammatories. Unfortunately, they just block that enzyme. They don't balance it. And I'm going to explain why phytocannabinoids are actually better than a drug that blocks these enzymes and decrease inflammation, because it doesn't do it irreversibly. It does it in balance with what the body's needs are. And that's pretty true of, you know, herbal products in general, is that they're, you know, our bodies can take the different components and adjust them, you know, use them as needed and restore balance. It's called adaptogenic effects of various herbs, as opposed to a medication or a drug that irreversibly blocks an enzyme or a receptor. And that's where you get a whole lot more side effects when you use a pharmaceutical. Phytocannabinoids 101. So hemp and marijuana, because you get this a lot, you know, I still do too. People say, oh, are you talking about pot? Are you talking about marijuana? And they're in the same family of plants, but they're not the same. Hemp and marijuana, but mostly hemp, have been used for medicinal purposes and other purposes for thousands and thousands of years. And this has been well documented in history until, you know, the last few, you know, decades. Basically, this was part of our normal diet. It was part of our normal way of life and part of, you know, the medical pharmacopoeia. So hemp oil contains over 100 cannabinoids that have been identified so far. Now, CBD is the word we use because it's quick, it's easy, it's the buzzword these days, but it's only one of 100, as I said before. It's cannabidiol. And that's been the most studied, so that's why it gets all the attention. THC was the first cannabinoid discovered. That's been researched very extensively. Cannabidiol was the second. It's been researched very, very extensively. But there are many, many others like CBC, CBL, CBG, CBNA, et cetera. And there are studies that study those phytocannabinoids each in isolation. But again, a lot of them have the same or very similar, benefits. They all kind of overlap each other in those studies in terms of benefits on, balancing out inflammation and immune support and balancing neurotransmitter function, et cetera. So, you want to understand that it's not just the cannabidiol, it's the whole, again, it's all of them have that synergistic effect. Hemp, on the other hand, only contains trace amounts of THC compounds, and that is the psychoactive component from marijuana. THC does have some documented health benefits in and of itself, but also runs some risks of causing psychosis and other adverse health effects as well. So our hemp, basically, our products contain little or no THC. I believe the last time I looked at the analysis on the website, the CTFO website, 10x Pure contains literally 0 THC. You'll hear that it's necessary, for hemp to contain THC to have the benefit, but at the 0.03% that's allowed to be sold over the counter, it's not enough to have those benefits as far as like nausea and weight loss and anorexia and muscle wasting and things that you would think in a cancer patient or an AIDS patient might need that extra component. Otherwise, people can still get a great deal of benefit from hemp without the THC. Hemp cultivation, of course, was suppressed back in the 1930s when it was made a Schedule I drug along with marijuana, which is just crazy ridiculous, in my opinion. Schedule I drugs are drugs that have no known medical benefit whatsoever. And here we have thousands of years of documented benefit of both hemp and marijuana. And all of a sudden, our government decides that it's a Schedule I. The FDA decides that it's Schedule I, and we're going to just block the use of it. So unfortunately, what that's done is it's suppressed all of the research in this country for a long, long time. In fact, still most of the research on phytocannabinoids is being done in Israel and other parts of the world because it's very difficult to study here in this country. And fortunately, the Farm Bill that was signed into law last fall, winter, December, made hemp oil legal in all 50 states. Now, there's still some questions about that, and the FDA hasn't come out with final rulings, but in general, hemp is pretty secure at this point in terms of us having access to it for health benefits. So I always like to say, why in the world did they call it cannabinoids? Because it brings up all this confusion about marijuana and, is it legal, is it safe, etc. But remember, the plant, the genus of the plant is called cannabis. And so from that, when they started studying cannabis, they named the compounds they found cannabinoids, and the ones that are derived from plants are called phyto or plant cannabinoids, and that's all the ones we've been talking about: the CBD, the THC, CBNA, CBC, CBNA, etc. And then they discovered, and this was all after I went to medical school, so I never learned this in medical school. I had to go study on my own. Then they discovered that there are substances that are created in the body, and I'm talking all vertebrates have these endocannabinoid receptors. So that's a lot of, the majority of animals on this planet, and of course all humans, have these endocannabinoid receptors, and we make compounds that are called endocannabinoids or endogenous cannabinoids. Now, why is it that our body has these? It kind of, why would our bodies have a receptor that is waiting for these phytocannabinoids? Well, we've evolved with them over the years. Obviously, like I said, it's been for thousands and thousands of years documented that these have, health benefits. These compounds have health benefits. Now we're finally understanding the science behind it. And as it turns out, the endocannabinoid system which is I'll get into in a minute what that is made up of. But it turns out that this is one of the body's primary tools for maintaining homeostasis in all other systems in the body. Now, the body's made up of a whole lot of systems that have checks and balances. So you want to always have that right balance of inflammation and anti-inflammation, oxidation and antioxidation. You have to have that balance back and forth. Or when we get out of balance, that's when disease starts to get get its foothold and starts to develop. So the endocannabinoid system regulates the nervous system, the neurotransmitters in your brain, regulates the immune system and inflammation. And inflammation can be a good thing if there's an infection or a cancer, say. You need that inflammation to fight the invader. The endocrine system, which is like your thyroid, adrenals, etc. And also modulates the pain receptors. They're called the mu receptors, to make us less sensitive to pain, raises our pain threshold. And that's one of the ways that hemp oil can very quickly aid in reducing pain sensations. So the endocannabinoid receptors are found, the CBD1, there's two primary ones, CBD1, CBD2. CBD1 is found mostly in the brain, and CBD2 receptors are found within the immune system. However, both of these receptors are found literally throughout the entire body, even in the bone. As you can see here, you've got in the middle, you got your CBD1, CBD2, and they're spread throughout the whole body. I think they're actually on all the muscles and throughout everything, but it's concentrated, of course, in the brain and the immune system. Then the two endocannabinoids over to the right on the top that are primarily made by our bodies are 2-AG, which sits in the CBD2 receptor and modulates inflammation and immune function. And then anandamide, which hopefully you can see it on this slide. It's a little dark, but the chemical structure is there. Not that you're going to memorize that, but anandamide is a really interesting molecule because it works predominantly on the CB1 receptors, but it's been called the bliss molecule. In other words, the molecule that makes us feel happy, that connects us with our spiritual source, with God, that when we meditate, when we do yoga, we raise our anandamide and we feel enlightened. When we, people who are elite athletes, when they, runners high, they get that extreme exertion going, and they raise their anandamide, and they get that high, that feeling of, pleasure from that exercise because their anandamide levels are going up. Now, in the body, there's always something that is created and a way to break it down and get rid of excess. And so we have these enzymes, the MAGL enzymes and the FA enzymes, or fatty acid amide hydrolase enzymes. And sometimes those enzymes get what we call upregulated, which means it's breaking down the 2-AG and anandamide too quickly. And I think, this hasn't been proven yet, but I think we're going to find that in, the stresses of our modern day living, the things that we're affected by, the toxins in the environment, et cetera, and the stress that we're under, the fast-paced life that we have, is actually upregulating these immune system, these enzymes, and depleting our endocannabinoids and causing a great deal of, anxiety and depression, et cetera, in our modern society. And so by raising these endocannabinoids or using phytocannabinoids like CBD to raise the, to affect the endocannabinoid receptors, we can help to balance out that deficiency, the endocannabinoid deficiency syndrome that's been published since the first paper on that, I think, was 1994, I think, was the first published research on deficiency of endocannabinoids. But anyway, over 23,000 studies. I haven't gone back and re-looked at this number in the last couple of years, but it's it's growing. So I just put a plus there. Tons and tons of research studies are being published on the health benefits of phytocannabinoids, but most of the time they focus on a single cannabinoid, a single phytocannabinoid, because that's the way we do research. We like to isolate things so we can see what's this doing, what's this doing, and very seldom is there research money available to study a whole herb and see what is it how is that more potent than the one single component itself? And I can tell you, I mean, THC um, was made a drug by the FDA years ago for treatment of nausea in cancer patients and other uses, and that's been around for a long time. And it works sort of. I would say it does. It's not an exceptionally effective drug, and in fact, it's not even used that much anymore. So you can see the difference between that and using the whole plant, which clearly, I mean, all the states that have legalized, medical marijuana for the use of like cancer patients, et cetera, to help make their life more pleasant and give them a better quality of life. So you can see that just isolating a drug out of there doesn't always work. But that's the way we do research, so it is what it is. However, my clinical experience certainly indicates that the best outcomes are going to be with your full spectrum hydrophilic CBD hemp oil, and I hope I've explained why that is. So here we have, CTFO has not just hemp oil, but a whole line of different products, as I'm sure you're well aware. The full spectrum drops, also isolates for people who are concerned about testing positive for THC, certainly is a valid use. Vape oils are very, by vaping, and I'm not a huge fan of vaping, but a lot of people do it and like it, and it's gotten them off of, more toxic things like cigarettes that are known to cause cancer and other problems. So there's certainly a use for it, but it's well known in pain patients that when you vape, you get a really rapid onset of action because you're using the lungs' tremendous surface area as a drug delivery system, and you're getting a delivery system for the CBD, and that in this case, and that way you're getting a faster effect on pain and other conditions. I'm pretty excited. I'm going to talk separately about the hair growth products and of course all the wonderful beauty care products and the pain creams I'm going to talk about in a minute. The sleep spray also works extremely well. It has a number of things in it besides the CBD. CBD or the full spectrum hemp oil by itself helps with insomnia and sleep in quite a few patients, but if somebody's particularly challenged with insomnia, the sleep spray is a wonderful addition to that. And then, of course, gummies. And as I said before, all vertebrates on this planet have an endocannabinoid system and can benefit from hemp oil, from CBD. And of course, anything what a vertebrate is, for those of you that never took biology, it's anything with a spine. So it could be even an alligator or a snake. But certainly some people have those for pets, but most of us have cats and dogs that do extremely well. And I know my little dog, my little rescue, is just a much happier camper when she's got her CBD every day, when she gets her hemp oil every day. So the hair growth products, here's a couple of slides that, of people that were using the patented hair growth products with Anagain. Anagain is extracted from pea sprouts, and what it does is it goes down into the root of the hair follicle and strengthens that follicle. So not only does it grow hair better, it also grows more, stronger, more healthy hair. And you can see the effects. This person was after 4 weeks, pretty dramatic, and the other one was 55 days, which isn't even 2 months, and you can see a dramatic improvement with that. And this product is life-changing. I know, I've dealt with chronically ill people all my life, and it always surprises me that sometimes the thing they're most upset about is their hair loss, and especially for women, also for men. But when you're, you'd think people would be concerned about their health concerns, their overall health, but when they're losing their hair and they look in the mirror and they don't look good and they don't feel good, it's just very concerning to them. And it's so wonderful for me to have a tool that I can use that really works. I had a patient who was on Rogaine, which is a pharmaceutical to regrow hair, and all she got was like, after a year of using it, was like little peach fuzz. So she was getting some hair growth, but it wasn't strong hair. It wasn't healthy hair. It was just a little fine hair growth. And since switching over to this product, she's actually starting to really fill her hair loss, the the balding spots in. So pretty exciting product in my book. And I got to talk about the ultimate deep healing pain cream, because this product blows me away on a daily basis. I have a little container of it right on my desk, and somebody comes in with pain, I have them rub it on their knee or their elbow or whatever it is that's hurting, and it's just surprising how often within 5 to 10 minutes they have pain relief. And you know, the emu oil has been around for a long time, and we know it's really effective, but the combination in this product is really of the emu oil. It's got a number of other different components in it. Arnica montana is a well-known anti-inflammatory, used as a homeopathic. Boswellia is an Ayurvedic herb that is known to be anti-inflammatory. There's a whole host of other things in there besides just the CBD and the emu oil, and the synergy of this product works absolutely amazing. I had a patient that came in the other day, and she had her foot was hurting, and she'd been to several doctors and orthopedists, etc. They'd done x-rays, nobody knew what was wrong. She's like, I can't walk, I can't exercise. I'm like, try this. We put it on, and literally within a few minutes she's walking around the room saying, I cannot believe, you know, she's exercising her ankle. She said, I couldn't do that when I walked in here. You know, she's like rolling her ankle around and saying, I couldn't move. I couldn't move when I walked in here. So it's pretty effective. And the other thing I found is that it's not just pain relief in the moment, but with consistent use, it seems to really speed the recovery of those type of injuries, which I've been using Arnica montana in my practice for, you know, 30 some years, and I've seen it help injuries heal very, very quickly. I always tell my patients going into surgery to take it before and after surgery. Decreases the pain, and it decreases the recovery time, and the healing and bleeding and everything. So we know that these components are effective in and of themselves, and then when you combine it, they become synergistically even better. So, you know, we've got several different options for pain relief. I've used a lot of the Ultimate Deep Healing Pain Cream, and I just think it's an exceptional product. So, and then you've got your startup pack options that we put in here that, you know, you can get started with. If you're just getting started with CTFO, it gives you different product, you know, selections that you can get started with. And I am so grateful to talk to all of you, because I feel like this has been withheld from humanity for so many decades, and we can only estimate what the adverse effect on our population has been by not having this information. So it's a real passion of mine to educate people about this and help them to get their body back into homeostasis, back into health, back into balance, and really restore healing. And I always say, you know, CBD or hemp oil doesn't cure disease. It helps your body to restore homeostasis, which restores health. So we're not making a health claim, we're helping people to get healthy. And that's, I think, the takeaway that I'd like to leave you with. Go make a difference for all the people in your lives, okay?